testing for their cosmetic and cleaning products, even though there was no reason to do so. They basically tortured animals for money. It was disgusting. Thea hated Anthony and everything he stood for. "Look at his stupid, smug face," she hissed. "Shh." Nicole turned up the volume on the live stream, obviously not caring if they got caught. Such was the lure of the handsome and rich Anthony Bertram. Thea could admit that he was handsome, in a rich, smug, stupid, arrogant, selfish kind of way. His hair was dark, his jaw strong. He had one of those smiles that made a woman all weak-kneed. He clearly worked out, his suits fitting him perfectly, emphasizing his muscular shoulders and wide chest. He wasn't bulky, though, but tall and fit. At the moment, he wore a dark gray suit with a blue tie. His cufflinks winked in the light of the news studio. They probably cost more than Thea's annual salary. "How has the company dealt with the social media controversy?" the news anchor asked Anthony. Thea barely restrained a snort when the perky and busty anchor licked her bottom lip and she asked Anthony the question.
"These things come and go,"
said Anthony without any change of expression.
"There were a lot of misrepresentations and outright lies in that campaign, and unfortunately, these kinds of things tend to spread like wildfire on the internet. It's best to wait for it to blow over, then address it directly."
"Can you comment on the controversy itself? Will Bertram, Sons and Company continue to do animal testing?" Anthony's lips turned upward, but it wasn't a smile. Not really. It looked like a predator spotting its prey. Thea shivered at that look in his eyes.
"I can't comment on that,"
he said.
"But as we've said in our statement earlier this week, we pride ourselves on the products we sell, none of which contain parabens or toxins, and all of which are 100% organic. We were one of the first in the industry to do so."
"Yes, but the allegations against you
are ludicrous,"
interrupted Anthony.
"It's nothing except unfounded rumors and salacious gossip. I applaud activists who want to make the world a better place, but when doing so hurts other people, who are they saving? Or, what are they saving? Nothing. They're only patting themselves on the back for doing what they think is right."
Thea turned red with anger at that comment. She wished she could strangle Anthony Bertram through the computer screen. What an arrogant asshole! That viral campaign had been about exposing the truth and showing consumers where their money was going. Thea would know. She'd been one of the primary people behind the campaign. It had been her best friend Mitten's idea. Milton Haverford III, more commonly known as Mittens, was always the instigator in their circle, while Thea would take on ideas and make them into reality. This time, though, Thea had come up with an original idea of a viral social media campaign against Anthony's company. Other members of their activist group had soon joined in. The social media campaign against Bertram, Sons and Company had grown slowly, and then a huge celebrity had shared the photos of suffering animals, rabbits and rats primarily, and it had exploded. Within the last 2 weeks, Bertram, Sons and Company had had to address the allegations, and apparently their stock had plummeted. People were boycotting their products. When Thea had gone to the grocery store just yesterday, she'd seen the company's cleaning products sitting on the clearance shelves collecting dust. Seeing that had filled Thea with pride. She'd done that. She'd made a difference. If they kept pushing, Bertram, Sons and Company and other companies like it would have to make changes if they wanted to stay in business. Simple as that. The news anchor began asking other questions unrelated to the controversy, and Anthony looked bored. He checked his watch at one point. You'd think after everything that happened he'd at least attempt to be apologetic, thought Thea. God, he's hot, Nicole repeated. She sighed dreamily. He's a terrible person, countered Thea. We're all terrible people at the end of the day. Nicole rolled her eyes. Besides, he's rich. Don't tell me you wouldn't ride that train to Pound Town if given half a chance. Thea scoffed, although to her annoyance, she felt her cheeks redden. She hadn't ridden any...